What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that is prevalent in the conversations around video games. And by the way, just for disclosure, I'm going to be cross-posting this video because I feel like it's relevant to every gamer that's out there that engages in conversations around gaming. So you'll see this on both my YouTube channels if you were wondering, and if you're, a subscriber on both of them. This is a matter of game engines and the way players, for the most part, respond or react to the game engine being used to make a game that they're looking forward to. Sometimes you'll see a video game, it'll probably make, just a little comment, but you'll also see something along the lines of, oh, this is another game using Unreal Engine 5, or this game is being developed using Unreal Engine 4. And then some players will also go the extra mile and, in a sense, sometimes dismiss a game because it's being made on a game engine that they feel is old gen or last gen, and they basically categorize that game in that perspective. I wanted to go ahead and talk about this in this video because I strongly believe that this is coming from a misconception, because there are many games, and the different games have different needs and they are represented differently based on the capability or the genre that the developers are trying to go for. Let me give you a really interesting analogy here before I continue the video. For example, right now, if I wanted, say, a carpenter to go ahead and make me a solid desk, right? A desk that I could definitely use to make my, put my computer on and make my YouTube videos and so on and so forth, I would expect that at the end of the day, I get a quality desk. What doesn't matter to me is if if the carpenter is using a Milwaukee set on his drills, or DeWalt, or they're using, Makita or Cobalt brand of, drills. I don't even care what brand of screws they're using or drill bits they're using. As long as I get a sturdy desk that is made out of quality wood that will get the job done in terms of holding my computer so that I can make my YouTube videos. This is the exact same thing when it comes to video games. If the developers can make you the quality video game that you are looking forward to playing and an experience that's going to serve you, the engine that they use to make it does not freaking matter. It is the cringiest thing to see people say, oh, because a game was made with Unreal Engine 4, oh, it's just last gen. That's nonsense. Let me tell you where that thing came from, and I think I've gotten to the point where we need to go ahead and address it. It came from the marketing that they wanted to use to bring out these new consoles, as well as the new GPUs that were coming out at the time of the RTX, the PS5, and the Series X. A lot of things were spoken of in terms of technological advancements that they marketed as next generation, when in reality, they could have just said something along the lines of, new mechanics or new features, and that would have probably served, a very interesting, it would have served something that would have conveyed that message to people. You know why? Because since they started seeing this next gen stuff, much better, much more powerful technologies have actually surfaced in these same ecosystems. So I guess now that they want to market these things, what are they going to say? Next gen? And so you see how redundant and how silly that has become. So I think what players are probably trying to refer to is the visual quality in terms of how the game is rendered. Because look at Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy has a high visual fidelity, especially with the lighting and the illumination of the entirety of the world. And it's, it comes out looking like a solid game. Just, it really has that almost realistic feel to it, but you still know it's a video game. The game is smooth in the way the animation works and so on and so forth. But the game is made in Unreal Engine 4. Another game that many people did not like in terms of how the game looked and movement and such is Gotham Knights. It's a game that I do like because it carries a different feel. It's a different genre. It was going for the neon punk, the way the developers used everything, going with the Schumacher type world in terms of the way they designed their open world in Gotham here. You can tell that is basically what they were trying to achieve, and it gets the job done. And the visual fidelity is actually quite high. The textures and the meshes and the assets, they are speaking like, man, this is some really good stuff, the way they set it up. And this game as well is made in Unreal Engine 4. To me, it doesn't matter, and I don't think it should matter for most gamers at the end of the day. Another one that, has to actually be mentioned in this conversation is the OG of Batman games, and that is Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight looks like a game that you could call, in quote, next gen when juxtaposed with a lot of video games that are coming out today. However, the game was made using Unreal Engine 3, most likely a modified version using lighting tools and other different methods that were available in those pipelines in the time that they were actually building this game. And the game looks pretty good. Now, yes, if you took a closer look, you'd see that it's a lot of alchemy, a lot of the different materials and the meshes, they're kind of much in terms of quality, much lower, but the lighting and the way they've basically done everything with the VFX just makes the game look phenomenal for the time that it was actually released. So again, what are people talking about here? Is it the engine that makes the game next gen? Is it the features of the engine that make the game next gen? You don't even know the features of the engine. As a gamer, you don't care. That's not necessarily your biggest requirement or need. So again, I think it really does bring this conversation to a very interesting place. Now, in the sense of visual fidelity and visual quality that appeals to some people, I'm not saying games should not try to achieve these things. No, if they're targeting an audience that cares about it, and there's no problem. But some games don't necessarily care. They basically put a cell tune shader and they sell 10 million copies because their audiences don't necessarily give a hoot if the game has neon lights and all of that stuff. I mean, right? So at the end of the day, gamers, I think this is just something that, for the most part, we basically, make a big thing out of, a mountain out of a molehill, but it doesn't have to be so. It doesn't have to be so. At the end of the day, at the heart of a video game is the game's art and the game's mechanics. I think those are two things that really do stand out. And I thought I'd make this video just to, go ahead and just shine a little bit of light on it, especially from somebody who, I just basically played video games and then I started exploring what the development side looked like. And it's been very interesting to see that a lot of the things that we didn't know, we're starting to know now. And so that's very cool. We have access to Unreal Engine. Anybody that, can download it. The specs are not really that high. You can kind of look around and explore, and you could it's something you don't even need to download the engine. You can read notes, you can watch videos, you can, watch developer interviews, and you can start hearing this stuff. It's just like, Stig Asmussen. He was a creative director for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. And he got asked that question too, like, why are you guys not using the Frostbite engine? And he said, who gives a S what engine you're using? Because, and I remember that interview because, I could tell that he was a little frustrated as to why am I even getting, getting asked this particular question. He just thought it was ridiculous. And it's that ridiculousness that, once you pay attention to all of this stuff, you'll realize how ridiculous that entire conversation string is. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.